Hello my loves and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be exposing the fake spiritual mean girls. So this is kind of like the feminine version of the spiritual fuckboy video that I did. So these unfortunately are quite popular and can be found in a lot of so-called spiritual spaces, circles, etc. Whether they are fake witches, fake new age gurus, fake tantric priestesses. Not saying that any of them can't be genuine, of course they can, but unfortunately there is a lot of charlatans, fake psychics, fake new age women presenting themselves as enlightened and wise and so forth. But the problem is so many of these people unfortunately do way more harm than good. So this is the reason why I'll be exposing the traits and signs so you can spot them so you don't get led astray. So the first sign is performative spirituality. So this is probably the number one sign of especially female fake gurus, is everything is performative. So these are the types of women that will think they have to dress and speak a certain way, and they always will, to present themselves as wise or some beautiful, kind-hearted yogi, etc. So, but everything she will do will be performative. So everything will be a form of manipulation, gaslighting. So she may look the part, she may speak very softly and only speak very calmly, but underneath that fake spiritual ego, that mask, is all bullshit. So unfortunately, a lot of, same with fake men in spiritual spaces, women do the same. So she may present herself when you first meet her as some very kind-hearted, saintly goddess, who only wants to help you and who will love you and cherish you. But no, nothing she does is authentic. So it's like a complete facade, a complete fake spiritual ego. And unfortunately, these are rampant in spiritual circles. Trust me, I've been in the spiritual game for over a decade and I have seen many of these people. And a lot of the times they are stoned. So a lot of it, again, is very inauthentic. So, but the ones who aren't stoned, who aren't high and just, living in la la land, unfortunately, they're more sinister. So the real sinister spiritual narcissists, they know what they're doing. So they will literally present themselves as some very kind, empowered or wise or whatever woman. So like everything will look perfect. So her Instagram, will look perfect, like perfect aesthetic pictures and videos of performing, whatever, she does. So usually as an example, like, fake yogi. So everything will be, just about how she looks, doing perfect poses, head to toe in these, spiritual costumes, really. So not saying that, authentic people don't dress the part, but there's a limit. They use it literally as a weapon. So they will use it as a costume. So, and it's the same with witches. It's the same with, so-called starseeds. It's the same with any type of, spiritual guru. It will be a disguise. So, so many people do this in even like high level gurus as well. So they literally use a costume. So they may dress like a yogi or guru or whatever, but they're anything but. It's literally a wolf in sheep's clothing, in disguise. So they basically present themselves as some very gentle, person, very loving, but they're anything but. So it's usually the case of they just want to siphon, again, like men, they want to siphon your energy all for themselves. They want power, they want attention. So literally everything they do is for attention. So like all narcissists, they thrive off validation, they thrive off attention. So like, the spiritual fuckboy man, she'll put herself on a pedestal, she'll be extremely entitled. And she'll want big groups of people around her. So this is what I mean about the spiritual mean girl. She needs crowds and like mass followers and basically just attention 24/7. So she'll have, you know, loads of so-called friends or acquaintances or whatever, but again, it's all performative. So she will literally just have a whole facade of performative spirituality. She'll talk a certain way, she'll look a certain way, she'll literally try to fit the mold so she can literally do what she has to do to get followers, to get money, to get attention, to get a validation, but she has no internal integrity, no wisdom, no genuine empathy either. So that leads me on to the second sign, and that is she has no empathy. So like with all spiritual narcissists, they don't have empathy. So like I was saying, she may present like she does, but those who are close to her or those who get in her inner circle or whatever, they'll start to see cracks or the mask will slip, or you'll see how she will treat certain people or animals or whatever the case. So nothing she does literally comes from the heart. They'll completely be void of all empathy. So basically everything that she does and wants is just for money, ego, attention, and so forth. Nothing is heart-centered. Nothing is literally her doing something purely from the kindness of her heart. So she won't be tapped into her own Christ consciousness. She won't be tapped into any of those things. They dress it up as some glamorous, privileged bullshit thing, when in reality is actually, what are you doing to help the planet? What are you doing to help people? What are you doing to help animals in need? Like when I went to, I think it was an island called Gilead, I was horrified because I saw these beautiful horses getting tortured and people just sat in them, people visiting elephants, sitting on their backs, crippling them so they can take a selfie in a bikini. Like, it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. And it's one of the things that really, really angers me, because it's like, what are you doing? With all the influence you have, you could be spreading so much positivity, but to help the planet, to help even children or animals or whatever, but they don't. And, you know, men do this too, but I see it so much in these so-called spiritual communities where it's all selfish, it's all self-centered, it's so narcissistic. And this isn't me saying that you can't go to retreats when you need to heal and, you know, heal your trauma and so forth and enjoy these beautiful countries, but don't go there just to exploit it. Like, I see this shadow in the spiritual community, and it's of narcissism. They don't care. All they want to do is take drugs, have sex, make money, blah, blah, blah. It's all self-centered. And then they wonder why they never heal their trauma. Because it's like, you're never opening your heart. You're never opening your heart. Why? Because you're void of empathy. So Christ consciousness and divine feminine energy and being connected to source and goddess and whatever you want to call it, the universe, requires you to open your hearts. And that doesn't mean you just go around being in a, you know, ignorant bubble. You know, ignorance is not enlightenment. And that's the biggest lie that the New Age has done, the false light, which I will be doing another video on. So this New Age false light has literally made people think that ignorance, being solipsistic, is enlightenment. It's not. So, and this also is shown towards their followers. So basically, if they have a client or follower come to them, sometimes they'll literally abuse them. So I've had so many horror stories from my clients who have gone to like groups or talked to certain gurus or whatever. And so many times they're like left more traumatized because that person doesn't have an open heart. All they care about is showing off about how psychic they are or whatever the case. Because that's another thing, especially with fake witches, is they're not doing it to actually help you. They're doing it to boost their own ego. But so many fake spiritual mean girls and women who are completely acting from their ego don't care about actually healing people or guiding them. So like I was saying, everything is fucking performative. So a good example I can use of this is many years ago, I saw a QHTT practitioner, so past life regression. And basically, one of the things she told me after our session, so she was good at hypnotherapy, but one of the alarm bells that, you know, she said was, oh, depression is really selfish. So depressed people are really selfish. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not it. You know, covert narcissists who pretend like they're always depressed for attention is selfishness. But people who literally are suicidally depressed, yeah, that's not selfishness. That's fucking deep pain. And they need to be heard and seen and held and loved, not literally attacked. So there's this victim blaming that I see time and time again in the new age, where all they do is shame you. All they do is make you feel all this guilt. And this is why so many people don't heal within the new age. This is why they're stuck in this stagnant loop of self-hatred and constantly feeling broken, because these very cold, narcissistic gurus and influencers constantly blame you. They constantly attack you. So, and I'm not saying that, you know, you have to be responsible. You know, I'm not saying that you stay like a victim, but there's a certain line. Like if you, for example, have had someone who's been through horrendous abuse and has PTSD and is severely traumatized and severely depressed, that is not selfishness. That was not their fault. So, you know, it's insane to say such a statement, but this is what I mean about these people. They don't have empathy. They do not have empathy. So they'll do victim blaming, shaming. They'll exploit countries they travel to. Like, they don't care. So this connects to the third sign, and the third sign is good vibes only energy. So basically spiritual bypassing. So again, this is extremely common in the new age, and you'll see so many fake spiritual mean girls being like, good vibes only. Why do they do this? To avoid accountability. Because again, they have no empathy. So if they have, for example, a friend come to them who's gone through a breakup or gone through something really dark, very trouble, like really horrible in their life, and they're obviously down, they're depressed, they need help, they need comfort, they need compassion, they need, you know, all of that, they won't want to deal with you. They won't want to deal with that. So basically they'll be like, oh yeah, you're really bringing me down. You have really bad vibes. Like, what the fuck? So it's like, instead of them actually holding space for you, like they always say that they do, but they don't. They won't actually hold genuine space for people. They only, you know, hold space when they're live talking to their followers or whatever, or doing, you know, a group healing session. Again, performative. So when they're performing, they'll say they're holding space, but they're not. Because again, they're performing, they're getting off on it. They love to be the center of attention. But when it's one-to-one, when it's close connections, when they actually have to hold space, when they actually have to show empathy, compassion, patience, when the attention's not on them, they'll say, oh, you're bringing me down. Oh, you're being really negative. Instead of just listening and actually giving energy. Because this is the thing. They won't want to give energy. They only take energy. So like every single narcissist is all about taking. They don't want to show any form of love. So this is why they say good vibes only. When in reality, the darkness is what makes people reach enlightenment. You know, dark feminine energy is vital to heal, to reach enlightenment, to have clarity, to empower yourself. Genuine dark feminine energy. And that means people and yourself acknowledging your grief, your sadness, your trauma, your anger, everything. So if you're basically being forced to suppress all that, that will make you sick. That will never make you heal. And you even see this a lot in like ashrams and that sort of thing, like, and cults. They won't want you to be human. So basically the good vibes only is a form of spiritual gaslighting. So you actually don't ever, you know, be human and express yourself, and even holds them accountable. So another reason they do this is so you never attack them. So you never basically expose any wrongdoings that they may do. So this is again a way for them to avoid accountability, to keep you in line. Because if God forbid they do something and you see it and you're like, oh, why are you being so negative? Why are you projecting on me? Like, they'll always flip it onto that. So they won't, it's basically a way to silence you. So this is why having your dark feminine energy is so fucking important. So you don't fall for this bullshit that you'll see in so many so-called spiritual groups. So it's so important that you feel things to heal it. Because if you don't, that energy gets stuck in your body. Over time, that will literally fucking kill you. So you need to feel to heal. So if a person can't hold you when you're screaming and crying and venting, they're full of shit. So and I mean one-to-one, not in front of someone or with a camera in your fucking face, okay? When people have like wounds very, very open and they're bleeding and they're going into like a fucking mental breakdown, like you can't just, bypass and basically, shame them even more. That's the sort of thing that will literally lead people to unalive themselves, okay? So it's a very, very serious thing that happens, unfortunately, rampantly in the new age of this spiritual bypassing through good vibes only. So this person also never gets held accountable because, again, they don't want you to use your own discernment. So by doing this, they're actually shutting down your third eye because, again, they'll be like, oh, you're being judgmental. No, you're not being judgmental. You're actually using discernment. You're using your intuition and you're feeling red flags. Not everything is projection. Not everything is you being negative. It's so important that we see and acknowledge the darkness in this world, like I've said for many years. Because if you don't, you will be severely abused by it. So this is why I actually wrote my dark feminine ebook. So if you do struggle with this, with people pleasing tendencies, always feeling like a doormat, always being abused by narcissists, or have a severe level of heartbreak from narcissistic abuse, then please check out my dark feminine ebook. I'll link it down below. It's a powerful book filled with information, also 3 very powerful rituals to help activate your true dark feminine energy in a healthy way, in a spiritual way that will actually help you discern, all this bullshit within men and women. So I will link that down below as always. So number 4 is she follows trends, not truth. So a lot of the time, again, with this whole performative energy, these types of fake spiritual mean girls will never, ever live a life of true authenticity, but also they will be too scared or just don't want to address real life darkness in the world. So this looks like they will avoid telling certain truths because they don't want to be cancelled or they don't want to be disliked by anyone. So basically, they'll constantly tell you what you want to hear. And this means they'll also follow a lot of the trends and fake trends, usually liberal trends, the toxic ones, to basically just be liked and adored by people. So if it goes against the grain, they usually won't promote it or follow it. So a lot of the times they'll just parrot things. So very much like, fake spiritual fuckboys, they literally parrot. They're just parrots. So nothing is genuine. Nothing comes from real source truth or their wisdom or their true discernment of things, because all they want to do is follow trends, follow the crowds. They wear a costume. So they literally parrot things that, is trending or what liberals are, promoting or whatever the case. And this is why you'll see them switch a lot. So 1 minute they're promoting this and then the next they'll promote this. So they literally follow trends. So, 1 minute they'll be vegan for 10 years and then, no, I'm not vegan anymore. And this is because, like most narcissists, they don't have a core identity. Time and time again, I've seen this so much where they'll literally fall into obvious traps where people who genuinely have an open third eye, who have genuine sight, who have genuine connection to source truth, they will fall for these traps and they start promoting them. So like with pronouns or toxic wokeism is a big one. So they'll start promoting these things that are clearly been, organized by certain people that I can't get into here. Go check out my Patreon for all that. But it's like they'll literally fall into that trap willingly because it makes them look good. So again, all of it is basically virtue signaling. So this is like, as soon as there's a trending thing, they're jumping on it. They're promoting it. They're speaking passionately about it. When in reality, it's like they wouldn't give a shit if it wasn't trending. at all. So, but things that are, you know, way more serious that actually are happening in the world, they completely ignore because they know it will trigger people. They know it's a type of truth that shouldn't be promoted because it's very controversial or taboo or whatever the case, or you literally get cancelled or blacklisted over it. You know, so all they promote is this kind of fake woke fluff, is what I like to call it. It's all fluffy and is literally just rainbows and sunshine, literally. They never dive deep into things. They never get their hands dirty. They never want to actually look at the bigger picture, because a lot of the time they can't, because they're literally not connected in any way to actual source truth, because all they do is copy people. All they do is like, oh, that works, that's getting money, that's getting followers, they're not getting cancelled, I'm going to do that too. So this is what I mean about the new age parrots. They just parrot each other, and this is why people don't heal. This is why people struggle. This is why people run to the church after years as well. So that's another big one. It's the same with fake witches. You see it time and time again. It's because they won't practice genuine, safe spirituality, spiritual hygiene and so forth. They get in trouble, or they get sick and tired because they're not healing. And then they run to the church, and then, all of a sudden they're now promoting Jesus in the church. And again, I actually love Jesus. This is no hate to him, but I mean fake religion, you know, and this is why, again, they switch religions. They literally switch practices constantly because they don't have real integrity. So a lot of the times they'll just jump from trends to trends, and then, Christianity is now trending, I'm going to jump on that train so I can get people to, you know, like me and make money. Or they have such low discernment, which I'll get into later. They have no spiritual hygiene. They're very reckless. You know, this is big with occultists and witches and so forth. They don't know what they're doing. They're doing very dangerous things. And then their life starts to go to hell, or they get very bad, you know, negative manifestations. And this isn't always by recklessness. Sometimes you do have to go through those things to be initiated, which again, they never teach people. So it's like, because they're either going through very dark spiritual initiations to break their ego, or for them to actually face demonic energies, they run to the church, or they run to religion, or whatever the case. And then they demonize all spirituality. They demonize all witchcraft, etc. Because they weren't actually practicing it properly. They weren't actually being in that true energy. So they just demonize it. Unfortunately, there are so many, you know, scammy people who will really, really lead people astray if you're not careful. So this is what I mean about them not being divine. They're dangerous. And this leads me on to number 5, is they have no spiritual hygiene. So many times I've seen this, and it's actually laughable in all honesty. So time and time again, and as a disclaimer, this is not any hatred to people who are on the path and they have addictions or substance, you know, issues or whatever, but they know that it's bad. They know that they need to eventually let go of it, or they're relapsing, you know, they're struggling and that sort of thing. But I'm talking about the types of fake spiritual women who literally have no spiritual hygiene, and they try to brainwash you or justify it to other women that, it's fine. You can go and be promiscuous. You can sleep with whoever the fuck you want. It's fine. It's liberating. So this is what I mean about it being connected to very toxic, you know, fake woke liberal, you know, ideologies. Like, as an example, that's probably the worst thing you could do as a spiritual woman who needs to keep your womb clear and clean, okay? For your own empowerment, for your manifesting abilities, to heal your traumas as well. You should not be sleeping with anything that walks. You should not be sleeping around at all. It's so spiritually dangerous, because you are literally absorbing people's energies. It's an exchange. You know, whenever you have intercourse with someone, you are literally having an exchange of energies, like I've said so many times. So you literally take on their energy, and the other way around too. So it's the same with men. It's not just for women. It goes both ways. You are literally exchanging energies. So if that person has all this darkness in them, all this issues that they refuse to heal or acknowledge, like, you're taking a part of that within yourself when you're being intimate. Like, sex is a very sacred ancient practice. It is not supposed to be thrown around so loosely. It's really, really, you know, and this is why it's fucking up so many people. And this is why now people are seeing hookup culture is really damaging. But it's the same thing in spiritual spaces. But what do they call it? Oh, being polyamorous. So sleeping around and having orgies with literal strangers. It's like, what are you doing? Like, that is so damaging. And a lot of the times, this type of women, so I'll use this as an example. So it's the kind of like neo-tantric teachers who are literally very promiscuous. Everything is massively overly sexualized. And they project their wounds on all other women. So they try to brainwash other women because they haven't healed that within themselves, that it's normal to be overly sexual. It's normal just to shag everyone. But that is not liberation at all. And it's the same the other way around. It's like, you know, you don't have to be conservative and be a trad wife. I'm completely against all that as well. This is not about demonizing the body. Like, you can be nude and dance around a fire, you know, with your girls and whatever, but it's like, you don't need to over sexualize it. Like, there's a huge difference between embracing your sensuality, embracing your body and self-love and that sort of thing, and being wild, you know, feminine, in tune with it, you know, that's powerful. But if you're doing it in a way that's like exploitative of your body, and also exploiting, you know, other women and other beings, that is really, really, you know, spiritually dangerous. So, because all you're doing is like, you're basically allowing your body to be violated everywhere. So that will cause trauma within the womb space. And again, if you want to learn how to heal your womb, I do have that ritual in my Dark Feminine ebook, because that is literally your power portal. It is your power portal. So like I said in my How Men Siphon Your Energy, it's all connected to that. And it's the same with overdoing it on psychedelics, you know, or abusing drugs, any sort of substance abuse, or, you know, eating hordes of meat or whatever, or, you know, just anything like that, anything that taints the aura. Or smoking, like, I can't tell you how many fake, you know, gurus or yogis, so like literal people who are like yoga teachers who smoke, drink, you know, eat loads of meat, eat loads of shit. It's like, you know, take loads of drugs. It's like, this is what I mean. It's all fake. It's all performative. Like, a yogi is supposed to be disciplined with their body, with their vessel. And that's not about being, oh, restrictive or draconian or whatever. It's just truth. You know, it's meant to be hard. And this is why so many people, they want to look the part or act the part, but they don't do the part. You know, part of spirituality is embodying spiritual hygiene. And this doesn't mean you have to be perfectly pure or perfectly whatever the case. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to walk around like a saint, but it means you have discernment. It means you respect your body. You respect your vessel. You do your best to keep it healthy and clean, spiritually, physically, and mentally. So this is why you have to have discernment and pay attention to what you're consuming. Like, my life only changed years ago when I finally took spiritual hygiene seriously. When I gave up drinking, smoking, being promiscuous, eating meat, eating dairy. Like, I let go of so many things. And that was the main thing that dramatically changed my life. It dramatically changed my consciousness. You know, and again, it's just common fucking sense. Like, you know, look at the science. Like, there's so much science that obviously proves alcohol is poison. Substance abuse, which includes, you know, smoking marijuana every day, damages the fucking brain. Like, even overdoing it with psychedelics, like I've said in my other video, so I'm not going to get into all of that now, but they use it as a coping mechanism. So this is what I mean. It's like they haven't done the real work. And trust me, doing the real shadow work is fucking brutal. It is so hard. But it's the key to self-mastery. You can't go around acting like you're enlightened and mastered yourself or the universe when you literally haven't mastered, you know, letting go of a simple addiction. when you haven't mastered, not binging on the weekends on alcohol or drugs. Like, it's just, or being promiscuous and opening your legs to any man that shows you a bit of validation or a bit of attention because you have abandonment wounds, or because you have such low self-worth, because you don't have any self-love. You constantly want male validation and attention. Never follow a yogi or feminine guru or whatever who hasn't decentered men. And the number one most dangerous thing that these women do who haven't decentered men is they'll brainwash you to stay in toxic relationships. They will brainwash you to stay in narcissistic, abusive relationships and call it a twin flame journey. You have to be there for your twin flame. Even if he's cheated on you, betrayed you, ruined your life, hit you, they have no boundaries. They have no boundaries because they have no boundaries with their own body. And this is the big shadow that they have. So a lot of the times they'll be very, very deep in their ego and shadow. They'll be very deep in their wounds and they won't even realize it. And then they project it onto other women. So they'll literally, and trust me, I've had so many poor fucking women come to me who have had their lives destroyed because, some tarot reader or fake psychic told them that, no, you need to forgive the man who literally ruined you. You need to forgive your man because he's your twin flame or your soulmate or whatever. It's like, when most of the time it literally is just a narcissist trapped with an empath who is trauma bonded to them, which is as strong as a drug addiction. So of course that person is going to be wanting that to be justified so they can keep, hope and chasing that abusive partner. And you see this even on the flip side with very religious women, trad wife Christians. So a lot of even Muslim women, they'll have Stockholm syndrome. So they'll literally defend their abusive husbands. Women do the same thing in the spiritual community. They're doing the same thing. So when you see, a new age, guru or whatever in a very abusive relationship with a narcissist, but in her head, she's put the label of, it's a twin flame relationship. She is no different to a Muslim woman being beaten by her husband and saying, no, Allah wants this. I need to do this for Allah. Or a Christian trad wife saying, God, through the prayer and the power of God, he will change. We can heal. We can get through this. We can't divorce because God frowns upon it. You can't leave your twin flame because that means you're not going to get enlightened. Do you see how it's the same brainwash bullshit? Do you see how it's the same brainwashing tactics, literally with different words, different labels in all these cults, all these religions, all these things? This is what I mean. They're not divine. They're dangerous because they're literally tricking you into being abused. They're tricking you into abusing yourself, your body, your mind, or your spirit by tricking you to be in relationships that are very toxic, that are trauma bonds. So this is why you can't follow just some, fake little fairy who's telling you that everything's great and everything's fine. It's not. Because that will be very short-lived. So please don't take advice from people who clearly lack spiritual hygiene. So number 6 is she has no genuine connection to spirit. So again, this pretty much covers and links to everything I've already said. So because of everything, this woman, fake spiritual women have no genuine connection. So they're not connected to spirit, to God, to the universe, or whatever deity they're promoting that they're connected to. It's all fake. It's all bullshit or literal delusion at times. So like I said, with spiritual narcissists, they don't have a core identity. They will struggle to harness their own inner light and wisdom and literally hunt people who do have that light. So another thing that I've seen and I've had clients tell me as well, they've gone through this a lot, is unfortunately when they meet so-called spiritual women, they literally are trying to destiny swap with them. So again, this is connected to all forms of narcissistic abuse. So like with spiritual fuckboy men, who are usually narcissists in disguise, because they have no lights, they siphon it off you. Women do the same, but usually to other women a lot of the times, and sometimes to men as well. So they will literally see this woman who may be really beautiful, very wise, just have a shine, a brightness, a light to her, a lot of empathy, and they'll want it for themselves. You know, this doesn't even apply to just spiritual women, just women who are very, disconnected and narcissistic. This will happen even in like fake friend groups where women will pretend to be your friends. They'll pretend to be your bestie. They'll pretend to be like, oh, they really love you and whatever. But no, they're just literally doing that to manipulate you, to copy you, to become you, to try and steal your identity. So this is what I mean with destiny swapping, is they'll literally try to take your life by taking your energy. So it's basically a form of energy vampirism. So every spiritual mean girl will be an energy vampire. So this is why even with men, they'll be more of like a succubus energy. So they'll like weaponize their sexuality. They'll be very seductive to get their own way. So everything they do is a form of manipulation, but especially when it comes to close friend groups or whatever the case, or, groups within spiritual, groups and that sort of thing. Everything will have a hierarchy though. So if they don't like what they see with someone, so if they, in their head, if they see someone is like, overpowering them or whatever the case, or getting more attention than them, or what, those very petty things, they'll have a lot of, like jealousy and that sort of thing. So they'll attack you, but in a very covert way. But this can be very dangerous because if you, again, don't have boundaries, if you don't listen to your gut and your inner discernment, these types of people can cause a lot of damage. You'll notice this is happening to you when they literally try to become you. And this doesn't mean, people who are inspired by you. That's completely different, because you can have people, of course, who, who really look up to you and they want to, you inspire them greatly. So they want to embody your energy. That's completely different. But it's like when people hate you and do it. So there's no love involved. So they're not inspired by you, they're jealous of you. So there's a big difference between people who like really love you and they want to embody your energy because they just love you and you like inspire them, you make them feel alive or whatever. And people who fucking hate you because they're jealous of you and they want to take. Okay, so there's a very big difference between like devotion and destruction. So destiny swapping is all about destruction, and men do this to women as well. And I literally had this happen to me with an ex-partner. They will literally like steal your ideas, steal your knowledge, steal your wisdom, and try to portray it like it's their own. So they'll literally steal your personality as well. So this is what I mean, because they're not connected to source. They don't have their own internal wisdom. They don't have anything within that. And you'll see this pattern. They'll do it a lot. They'll literally like find their new little favorite person to siphon off or feed off or use to their, advantage. And I had this happen with a fake family friend, medium, who didn't do it for money. She didn't do it for anything other than like literal full-on demonic attack. Like, in all honesty, it was horrendous, and it completely destroys my life for years. But when she first came into my life, she love bombed me heavily. But it was like when the damage was done, when after I'd say about a year, she switched and turned really cold, really draconian, really controlling, very domineering, started to blackmail me. Like, they can switch up. So this is what I mean. Like, you have to be really, really careful who you let into your life. Don't let in people who love bomb you. Don't let in people who just like force their way into your life and shower you with kindness or affection or whatever. Like, a lot of the times that is a huge red flag because it never seems to last. They're doing it for a reason. So these types of people, who are very disconnected, you know, from their heart. They're on a darker level, they're disconnected from their souls. They're disconnected from light. They're disconnected from, you know, God, essentially. So this is why they're still your light. They steal your wisdom, your knowledge, your beauty, your finances, your partners. You know, sometimes it can get really dark where you may have a friend who, wants to steal your boyfriend or your husband or whatever the case. So, you know, I've heard it all. And like so many of my clients have gone through horrendous things like this. This is what I mean about the succubus energy. So with succubus women, they will try to break up divine unions. They will literally be home wreckers. So as a side note, this is another thing you have to be careful of, is they will enter your life to break people apart. They can cause all kinds of absolute chaos and hell. And then it's only years later you'll think, what the fuck happened? Like, and a lot of the time it's because they're very jealous of you. They want to take your light. They want to steal your energy. Because, you know, you have something that they don't. And a lot of the times it's not even just beauty or whatever. It's just your purity, your connection to spirit. Because these people, you know, on a very deep esoteric level, they're operating on a very demonic consciousness. So it's much, much deeper, you know, things going on here, which I can't really get into online. But, you know, check out my Patreon for the more deeper truths if you feel like you've been affected by this sort of thing. Also, if you want one-to-one help, so if you have been a victim of this, if you've had a, you know, fake spiritual mean girl or succubus like completely destroy your life, and you're finding it hard to recover, then please contact me down below. I do still have a sale on, so I'll be able to give you a one-to-one session where I dive deep on all your blockages, your shadows, things to like basically heal as well. So click that down below as always. And if you do want to dive in deeper, then check out my Patreon, my Goddess Coven, where I share a mix of esoteric, conspiracy, occultic knowledge. So unveiling certain truths to really help empower you, give you the knowledge and wisdom that you need. Also, every full moon and new moon, I do an energy reading and share rituals that you can do to further empower yourself, further heal yourself as well, and very deep, insightful Q&As every month. So until next time, my loves, I'm sending you so much love, so much light. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button if you haven't already, and also the bell to be notified of my future uploads. And until next time, I'm sending you so much love, so much light. Himza.